أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Dear viewers, I greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace be unto all of you. Before we continue, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us this opportunity to share with each other our reflections upon the Quran. Something that's so essential in our life in order to avoid the rust that covers the hearts if they are not activated by the recitation and the reflections upon the verses that we recite. We need to remind each other on regular basis that we need to recite the Quran regularly and frequently on the condition that we reflect upon the verses, trying to understand deeply the meaning that is there between the lines, and try to ask the scholars to give us more elaboration and try to use the authentic sources. This is a key word, authentic here, sources, so that we enlighten, alhamdulillah, our hearts. Otherwise, our hearts will be locked and will be rust. Today we have a verse, one line in the Quran, from the Quran. It's in chapter 40 and it's verse number 59. Let's see it on the screen. As it reads, I'll read it for you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الساعة لآتية لا ريب فيها ولكن أكثر الناس لا يؤمنون. As you see that it has three segments, and that's why I made pauses here. The first one is the إن الساعة لآتية. This is one segment and can be translated verily the hour, that meaning the day of judgment, is surely coming. Then the second segment, لا ريب فيها, therein is no doubt. And the last segment, ولكن أكثر الناس لا يؤمنون, yet most men believe not. This is a very important ayah in the Quran, and it talks about the hour. The word hour is used in the Quran in many places, and in the majority of them it refers to the hour, meaning the day of judgment or the day of resurrection. So it's a very commonly used word. It's a very commonly used meaning. There are many verses similar to this, emphasizing the same meaning. And we wonder, if it is repeated so frequently, what else could you expect Allah to do to convince you that the hour is coming? Tell me, by Allah, what do you expect from Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look at this. First of all, you see the amount of emphasis in this verse. Even in English here, it says verily and surely. In Arabic, we have in, which means verily, and we have la'atiyatan, surely, emphatic, and we have the nominal, this is the emphatic L in Arabic, and we have the nominal sentence, which is in itself more emphatic than the verbal sentence. So three ways of emphasizing the meaning here in Arabic language. You see how important it is. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing to you. If you understand the language, and if you digest it, and if you analyze it, definitely you will be affected. See how many times Allah emphasized the meaning in just short ayah, in short line. Then how many times the meaning itself had been repeated in the Quran. Inna sa'ata atiyatun. Here it's la'atiyatun, more emphatic. إن الساعة آتية, إن الساعة لآتية. Many times in the Quran, many places to emphasize the meaning so that you will be convinced. Otherwise, there is no excuse for you. So, the second thing, you would find that the word Sa'ah here, as we mentioned, it refers to the Day of Judgment. This Day of Judgment has been mentioned in the Quran in different forms, almost on every page in the Quran. If you just calculate, if we have 600 pages and approximately it had been mentioned one time on every page, or one or more times in every page, approximately more than 600 times, if not more. What else could you expect from Allah? What else do you want from Allah to emphasize the meaning for you? And now here, when this hour, when the Day of Judgment is mentioned in the Quran, is mentioned in different ways. Look at this. Al-Haqqa, Al-Tamma, Al-Qari'ah, and many other ways. Yawm Deen, Yawm al-Fasl, Yawm al-Qiyam, Yawm al-Taghabun. It has many other words, right, that describe. And with each one of these words, there is a description. So it's a descriptor. Every time a name is given, it gives some description to that. And even when you read the Holy Quran, you will find lots of description, very detailed. Perhaps no other religion has these minute description and meticulous description of the events that will happen on that day. And again, when we say day, it doesn't mean that it's 24 hours. It's much, 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 much longer than this. So what else could you expect? Do you want from Allah? Again, you'll find many chapters in the Quran, their titles carry the meaning of the Day of Judgment. So names of chapters, words, that different words, detailed descriptions, almost in every page, almost in every surah there is a mention of it directly or indirectly. Lots of different words you can imagine and you cannot imagine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing this meaning, emphasizing this meaning, emphasizing this meaning. There will be a day of resurrection. Everybody will die. Everybody will resurrect and stand in front of Allah and will be held accountable for his deeds and her deeds. So much emphasis, the whole Quran emphasizes on this. That's why part of the belief of the Muslims, one article of faith of the Muslims is that we believe on the Day of Judgment. So essential in our life. And here's one example. Look at that. And even another emphasis here comes in the second part, second segment in the ayah that says, La rayba fiha. There is no doubt in this matter. It's sure, it's coming, undoubtedly. Even in English, it's emphatic. So with all these emphasis, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing, yet most men believe not. Most people believe not. With all these tremendous ways and various ways of emphasizing this meaning that no one else can do. We have never seen any book in the whole world that covers this topic with this stress and emphasis on the meaning of the Day of Judgment. What else do we want? What else do we expect from Allah to tell us that it is coming, it is coming, it is coming? Yet, most people do not believe in that. Allah did His job very clearly, very elaborately, yet people, and guess what? Most people, which tells us the majority of people do not believe. Oh, this is very significant. It tells us that the parameter of the majority is not a good parameter to use, because Allah Himself is emphasizing this meaning. However, most people, or the majority of people, do not believe. So using the parameter of majority is not always correct. If you use it in a wrong place, you will not get the right reality or the right concept. And Islam is warning us in many places in the Quran. Islam warns us against the concept of the majority, because a lot of people nowadays think that when the majority does something, it is the right thing. No, it is not. And here is one example of it. So the concept of majority, the parameter of majority, is very dangerous. Yes, we need to pay attention to this when we accept this. At the same time, it tells us that maybe the minority, because the majority don't believe, that means the minority believes. So here it tells us the minority is on the truth, even if they are less than the majority. So here, one concept that we understand is that the majority is on falsehood and the minority is on the truth, which is not the case nowadays. For perhaps the politicians, when they hear that, they are a little bit irritated, yes, because when the majority is taken, yes, they think that this is the right decision. Not always. If it contradicts with what Almighty Allah says, so it's not the right decision, because the ultimate reference for humanity is the decision of Almighty Allah, not the decision of all human beings. Even if it is consensus, which is almost impossible to happen, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, because it's almost impossible that all the globe would agree on something that's false. There's always be a minority who would not agree to the falsehood. These beautiful meanings are getting to our brains from reflecting upon this verse. And again, the question is, if you know that it is coming, we need to ask ourselves these questions. Are we ready for the hour? Whether it happens today or tomorrow or next month or next year or after a century, are we ready for it? Or we're just saying it words to remind each other? Once you hear it, ask yourself, I need to be ready. Prepare yourself for the hour, because the hour for us begins after death. When your life ends, the book of deed is closed, and yes, you are ready for the hour, for the accountability. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us and to keep reminding us, as He did in the Quran, to make us benefit from what we read and reflect from the Quran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is your presenter, Dr. Mamdouh Mohamed.
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها
أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها أفلا يتدبرون القرآن أم على قلوب أقفالها